I'm joining forces with Martin for this interview. We are here at the coac stand at ACHEMA, and I'm super happy that Michael Wiedau is taking his time. He's joining us in a double role. So he's chairman of the board at Dexpi, but then also working for Evonik. And we want to talk, we're doing a little bit of a deep dive here. We want to talk about standardization in the industry. In particular, we're going to talk about P&IDs, right? Maybe you can start by introducing Dexpi first, and then we're going to roll over and unpack kind of the topic that we want to talk about.
Yes, of course. Yeah, Dexpi is a standardization organization which is covering different phases of the life cycle of a chemical plant. So we started originally several years ago by standardizing a P&ID exchange. Several software vendors have implemented the Dexpi standard into their software tools so that they can exchange data between the software tools. So the most use case where this is used is the data exchange between EPC contractors and owner-operator companies like Evonik is. So it's very important for us to get the right data in the right format into our tools that we get from other companies. So that's why we are really into taking these standards forward and working with these standardization organizations, not only with Dexpi, but also with other standardization organizations. So having the bridge between not only Dexpi, but also IAC, Cyphos and other standards, that's very important for us in Dexpi. Mm-hmm. So Dexpi also bridges the gap between different standards, and Dexpi defines the data standard for structured data of the structures of the plants that we, for example, as Evonik, define and operate, of course.
What were the biggest concerns then for industry in this game? I mean, we're all going to work, or you guys probably all wanted to work in the same directions, yet it's not always easy. You need a critical mass, you need a willingness to drive this forward. How did you go about this?
Yeah, we worked a lot in the last years to really bring this standardization forward, to define the specifications for these standards. And we as a association, we make them publicly available so everybody can freely download these standards. They are under Creative Commons license, so everybody can use them. And the biggest hurdle is that the software vendors have to implement these standards. Mm-hmm. And then we have to use these implementations in our software tools, in our projects at the owner operators. And that's the biggest challenge we have. So we always call it a little bit the chicken and egg problem. Yes. But at least here also at the ACHEMA and together with other companies, we see that there is a big momentum at the moment. So there are a lot of other companies joining Dexpi to really bring in forces, especially from the oil and gas industry, which is also very important for this digitalization of our plants.
And Martin, how did you experience, working in the field of data sharing, etc., how did you experience the dynamics from kind of the application point of view then?
Yeah. Like Michael said, right, the demand is there currently. And I think it's all about this efficiency, right? To increase efficiency throughout all the phases, basically, of engineering, of the construction phase, and then the maintenance phase, of course, as well. I think that's especially relevant and important here in Europe, where we have all this brownfield situation. And in the end, if you can really exchange data from one player to another player, right, much faster and easier, and you can standardize it, then you have so much benefits and so many connected basically disciplines, right, that then can use the data. And we also had a conversation with really engineering guys just a few minutes ago. For them, it's also a huge benefit, right, to just easily be able to access data, to work with the data, to then build on it also, So that's also what we see in our software solutions, that this standardization and interconnectability, right, of all the solutions, that this is really key. Yeah.
And how were you able to ensure security, and then also from an ethical point of view, being able to ensure that this is really a safe environment where the companies that are willing to share can share?
Yeah, of course. So we are only defining the specifications for the data formats. Of course, you have to have these things built into software tools that really ensure data safety. And of course, also ensure that, for example, IP knowledge is not getting out of the company, that it stays in the company and things like that. So, but we are only defining the data format as a standardization organization. The software tools, the software vendors have to implement these into software tools that can then be used, and they are building systems that are really safe in terms of data security. Yeah.
Can we imagine this to be a global movement, the association, or is this really something that is European? And how do you ensure, or how can we ensure competitiveness then also?
Yeah, we have a lot of different software vendors on board, and we also have a lot of different owner operators on board. So we have always been thinking internationally with this organization, but you have to somewhere settle this organization down. So we are located here in Frankfurt officially, but we are working worldwide with all the different software companies, standardization organizations, and so on. So members of Dexpi come from different countries, a lot from Germany, of course, but also from Finland, from Norway, from the US, from Korea, and other countries in the world. And we have a lot of also questions from Asian parties and Asian countries, and also, yeah.
How can we imagine the role of government then in this game? Is this can we really imagine this to be like a bottom-up approach where you're regulating, in a way standardizing, like you're saying, your own ways of doing things?
Yeah, we only define the standards, the governance of who is implementing the standards. That's not on our side, but we as owner operators, we of course want these data exchange formats and these interfaces to be implemented so that we can use it in our products, in our projects. Inside the company. So that's very important for us. And the interesting thing is with Dexpi that we have this open format which brings a lot of small companies also to us, like startups and universities. So we are working a lot with universities, and we are currently in the process of also setting up a scientific advisory board for Dexpi. So we are always very happy if also small companies join us, because they have another momentum in developing, and they are more flexible in developing than old established companies, I would say, not only in the owner operator world, but also in the software world. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe Martin can add a bit on, of course, we always want to know about the role that AI plays, especially here in this field. Or maybe you can comment on this.
Yeah, sure. I mean, AI in that role, I think, has two important there are two possibilities where I can support. One is in the area of how to transform basically the old, let's say, analog drawings, that you have as PDF or that you have as a scanned document. Especially in the brownfield sites, you have just historic information, of course, right? You build it probably in the 50s or 60s or so. And of course, since then, a lot of things have happened. But many companies still do work with paper, with a paper-based approach, let's say, right? Comment on the drawings. So somehow you need to get the analog drawing into the digital area. And Dexpi is the standard and the format, how to do that. And AI can help with collecting all the data from the drawings. Yeah? So what is on the drawing? We use computer vision there, for example, to then identify different equipment types, for example. We can also identify the flow direction of technical drawings, PNIDs. And with that, we can highly reduce the effort with AI to generate a Dexpi file in the end that then can be imported in a digital PNID tool or Kumos or so, right? And then to continue. So that's the first part where I can really perfectly support. It works very good using computer vision. And the second thing where I can support is how to get the data that is behind the PNID in shape, because the PNID, of course, is the central medium and tool then, doing all the different disciplines. But the question is, how can I describe then, for example, a pipeline? So how long is it? How much pressure can it process, and so on? And that's where also AI comes in, because if you have a site that is operating since quite some time, then you will have a lot of different data points in your organization. So you have your master data, you have your inspection data, you have your engineering data, and much more typically. And the operators today, right, on the workshop, they know what is happening there. They know what it is. But what we see a lot is that for them it was just in the past difficult or not possible really to maintain that data in all systems, to keep it aligned and synchronized. That's just too much work. And then AI can collect the data points and create a single point of truth out of it. And then you can really make the technical drawings, the PNID, smart, because then you have the data, you can trust the data, then you can use it for also other topics like digital twins and so on and so forth.
Super interesting. Then maybe, Michael, to wrap it up, what are the next milestones for you guys? What are you currently working on? What's still in the cards?
The big milestones are to implement the software tools, the standards into the software tools, and also to make use of that. And we have seen that it's so important to bring in together the different standardizations organizations. That's why we here at the ACHEMA organize a workshop 2 days, and 2 days the second day. And it's very excited because there are so many good people from the standardization organizations and from the big players in the industry that are talking about data exchange and data management. And we have just figured out in the workshops that it is so important that we talk about how to implement these exchange formats in the industry. And we are really working forward to make that possible in the industry. And that is the basis for all the things we want to do around digital twins, 3D models, bringing operational data together with static data, and then use that for really optimizing our plans, for example, through AI methodologies or other technologies that exist.
Thank you so much also for having taken the time. It was a real pleasure speaking to you. Maybe if we can bring your attention to this beautiful detail here. There's small but very, very good branding effects that have been taking place here. Thank you so much.